Thank you. While people are voting, I will start my remarks. I'll be followed by Janet Krill, who will give you an update on the annual fundraising, and then Tim Dan will present a budget, at least a budget at this point. This is my fifth year giving a senior warden's report. Every year we've had challenges and opportunities. In 2020, we have the Waveney issue. 2021 and 22, COVID, 23 budget, and also trying to do our first hybrid meetings. But out of these challenges, many opportunities and positive things have come about. One, for example, doing these hybrids, so we have more people participating because folks can do it by video. And also, our church has actually grown since COVID because of where we were with our video capabilities. It enabled us to grow during a time when many churches shrunk. In 2023, we continue to have the challenges imposed by chronic funding issues. We also were without Peter for 4.5 months while he was on sabbatical. So we're therefore down 1/3 of our clergy for over 1/3 of the year. We'll talk more about the finances. I'll talk more about the finances, as will Janet and Tim, obviously. But the challenge of Peter's absence turned out to be a great opportunity from which we all benefited. Peter was able to refresh himself physically, relax, and grow spiritually, as we've heard from him in various sermons, and we'll hear more from him on February 11th about his experience. And we all got to know and appreciate Elizabeth and John because of their increased involvement in Peter's absence. We got to know and appreciate the talents that they have and all that they do for so many. In the year in review, as always, our people shown, our clergy continues to do an outstanding job. And again, John and Elizabeth really came forward for us during Peter's sabbatical. Our staff, including many full-time volunteers, but as Peter noted in his address, we're actually down 1.5 staff members from 10 years ago, even though we have grown as a church. And also the members of our congregation, many have come through so well. All those who serve on the various volunteer organizations. Peter talked about this being our company, this is who we're investing in. I would buy stock in St. Mark's. The talent that we have here from our clergy, from our staff, but also people who give of their time on financial issues, with various social and outreach matters, property management, PR, IT, I could keep going on. We just have so many talented people who contribute so much. Mayfair was successful, both financially and in terms of involvement. And as you'll hear from Tim, actually, the Mayfair was the biggest one financially, and helped us meet our budget in 2023. And we're very fortunate for that. Special thanks goes to David Shea, who not only led our efforts, but used his skills to establish a protocol and process going forward. While in the past, the duties of May Chair were onerous, people were reluctant to take them on because they were so onerous. The procedure that David has put into place has us so that the chair really is a coordinator or facilitator of all those chairs of the various venues. So it's going to be much easier lift for folks. Picking up on Joe's, it used to be like Atlas carrying the world. Now it's not be Atlas, carrying a tray. So it's really going to be a good change for us. But the challenge of that is we don't yet have a chair. So please see if you can find it in your hearts to come forward to be the chair of Mayfair. We will work with you to ease your burden. We reintroduced our Sunday forums. I guess that's fora. That we had Dean Robert Willis, former Dean of Canterbury Cathedral, Steve Rowe, continue to be involved with that. The various programs, naming just a few, Laundry Love, Gospel Garden, Food Pantry, Blood Drive, Outreach Commission. Our Christmas pageant, as Peter alluded to it, 950 people at the Christmas pageant this year. This is the first one I've been to since COVID. And will say that I was amazed how many people stayed, how many parents stayed with their children after the pageant was over, which is a great testament to what we provide, the intangible religious that we provide for folks. We continue to grow and grow younger and more diverse. Our childcare is up each Sunday. And I might just add here, talking about the World Greatest Coffee Hour is something obviously we do every week. I thought it was interesting today, hearing the number of children going, "Mommy, Daddy, how come there's no coffee hour today?" You know, so it is something that folks look forward to, and it's a great way to communicate with each other. We've improved our outreach to the youth. The upcoming Taizé trip with John. Our acolytes are back, which we saw today. Confirmation, youth group, the choristers that we saw today. So many things we're doing for our children, and just there's so much more we want to try to do as we go forward. Most importantly is what we are all about, the Spirit of God and Jesus, pastoral care, funerals, weddings, and baptisms. I believe there were 37 baptisms this past year. A Revved Up for Sunday podcast. We now have over 1,000 subscribers to that, which is wonderful. And as Peter, I think, alluded to, over 500 listen each week, which is just a great sign. Music, both our Sunday music services, and we have again next Sunday a plug, next Saturday, I should say, a plug for the back-to-back program. Sunday school and nursery, and digital ministry, just to name a few of the many things of which we have done here. But we have challenges coming forward as us in 2024. As always, financial continued to be our biggest challenge. While we balanced our budget in 2023, it was because we had very few significant contributions, which came in at the end of the year. As Peter says, from December 1st on, we're wondering whether or not we're going to meet budget. We've had basically balanced budgets since I became senior warden, and actually before me, balanced budgets. But it keeps coming down every year to the last few weeks of the year. This is not the way to run a business or any organization. Our annual pledges have been flat for a number of years, even though we've grown in the number of families. On the positive note, the number of units that have contributed have grown, but without an understanding of what funds we will have coming in, it is difficult for us to plan on what we can provide to all of us. And the time spent by the clergy raising funds to balance the budget keeps them away from the other ministries. And that by itself is the reason we should make sure we have more money coming in and having a balanced budget so that they can tend to what they do best, which is provide the pastoral care and what they do for so many people here. We've been very frugal in what we've done financially. We actually spent less in 2023 than we did in 2022, despite inflation. Again, a wonderful job by Joe and her team. But we had to cut programs such as the Christmas wreath program, which we had. Janet will discuss more fully our 2024 annual campaign, and Tim, our 2024 budget. But spoiler alert, we have a projected deficit. In conclusion, I'm sorry to keep coming back to you on finances. It's the same old sound. We did a couple of years ago finish our Inspired by Love campaign. That is something that will ultimately help us balance budgets. But the way that the money comes in from the endowment, the percentage we take, lags by a number of years. And also, we have not fully funded what has been committed. So it's going to be a couple of years before that kicks in for us. So I'm back to you this year, keep preaching to the choir. I know everyone here and everyone on the Zoom are believers in help. But if you haven't yet, please do reach out to us. I'm so proud to be your senior warden. But to enable our clergy and staff to continue to provide what they do for so many, we need the financial resources to do so. We've had a history of balanced budgets, but just because we have a balanced budget does not mean we're funding for everything we could be doing. And just imagine how much more we could do if we had more resources available to us. So in short, we need everybody in the community to participate financially, however the Spirit moves you, pledges, gifts, and by your time. And with the various ministries, usher, chalice minister, altar guild, meals for those in need, gospel garden. All these programs we need volunteers for. So for me, the theme of 2024 is participation. We want people to participate financially and with your talents.